Hey guys, I'm Lisa Chastain, and I'm so grateful that you're tuning into this episode of Real Money. I have one of my favorite people on the planet today, Indya Ford. We're going to have a great conversation about what it means to be free in the world today, and I know that you're going to get some great nuggets. So let's just dive in. Hi!
Hello! Hi!
So you're back. If
Yes.
we're not gonna, the first episode that you were on, we really went through your whole story, and I've heard it several times. So what I want to do for our listeners is to highlight over that. You, before we got started on the episode today, you had a really good parallel between the darkness in the world and the light that there is in the world. And I think that's a great way to lean into the conversation.
Yeah.
But first, do you want to introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself to the audience, to everyone that's listening or watching?
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Number one, again, I'm Indya Ford, but I do go by Indy Go Hard on social media, and I am a published author. I'm a mother of 4. I am also a success coach at my job, and also a certified life coach on my personal time. I wrote a book called The Truth is a Lie, Behind the Scenes of the Family Court System, and it's basically an autobiography of my life and what I went through in the family court system, and just giving an overview of what it is to go through the family court system and to experience parental alienation as a result of it. I am also in the process of going into public service. So I do love what I do in finance. I've been in finance for about 17 years now, but I love doing the work for the people and being out in the community. So I think that's where God is kind of, tugging me. And on the notion of freedom, in order for us to be free, in order for that to even happen, you have to have people like me to be willing to stand up for ourselves and everyone else.
Agreed.
So
for all the clients that I've had, all the conversations I've had about money in particular, every single person, what it boils down to is freedom.
Yeah.
And their own definition of what freedom is, right? Not what society's saying is freedom, but I want to be free.
Yep.
And that's the whole reason that I want to start on my journey to financial freedom. I don't really love that term, but that's what it is. That I want to be free. I want to be able to call the shots in my life.
That's right.
It's a great, I think this is a great topic for today.
Yeah.
Before we lean into that though, will you share, I don't think that you shared all of this, but in the first episode, so if you want to go back and listen to India's episode, you can do that when we were on Voice America last year. And then I had you on as an expert for my Savvy Money University, and you shared an even deeper conversation around why you're so passionate about finance,
Right.
your own story, and then your grandma's story. Will you take us on that journey?
Absolutely. So when I was younger, of course, a lot of our stories kind of start out the same. Our families don't talk to us about money. And I come from a generation of immigrants that come from Panama. And so when my grandmother came to the United States, she only had like $26 in her pocket. How she made that work today and not tell me? I don't know, but that lady was amazing. They just made it work. And being a first generation American was really hard for me because I'm learning the customs of what it's like to live here, but I'm also being raised in the customs and culture of Panama, and there was a lot of things that I was not allowed to know until I got grown and started having my own kids and experiencing life myself. Like finances, for one. I remember when I started school, started going to college, and I'd get my financial aid checks. And I've always been responsible ever since I was a kid. And I'm like, oh, I need to pay for my books. I need to pay for this. I need to pay for that. And my grandma's like, oh, no, you just give that check to me. You can use that check for something else. I can use that check for something else. And I'm like, no, Grandma, you're going to misappropriate my money that I'm getting for school. And she's like, don't worry about it. I bankrupt 3 times in my lifetime. And I'm like, but why are you telling me this? Like, this is not good advice to tell me, like, bankrupt. I'm saying this now. But back then, I'm like, okay, bankrupt. Cool, I can bankrupt too. That's not good advice. It's really important to be very cognizant on what you teach your kids when it comes to finances, and it all trickles down from what you learn at home. Agreed.
I totally agree. Yeah. It all does. We end up role modeling exactly how our families were with money,
yes,
whether we realize it or not.
Yes.
So that was college.
That was college.
That you started seeing that.
I started seeing that, and what hit me was because I didn't really have the support that a lot of young mothers have with their families. You know how the family kind of comes together and financially. I had help with diapers and things like that. But when it came to the nitty gritty stuff like medical and all that stuff, that was my responsibility and my responsibility only. And I took that very seriously because I knew no one was going to be there for me.
Right. And you had your first child at 16.
At 16. Right. So, when I got denied, public assistance the first time, I was like, okay, that's God's way of telling me that this is just not the life for me. I tried it, but it just never worked out for me. And my grandma was never on public assistance. So I didn't know how to get on public assistance either. She did get checks from us for being in the system.
Yeah.
But
because you were in the foster system.
Right. But she wasn't like getting public assistance like food stamps and things like that for us. So by the time I was an adult, and by the time I started having kids at the age of 16, well, before I became an adult and I started having kids, I didn't really know how to do that stuff. It was like, oh, you got to go out there, you got to work, you got to do this, you got to do that. My mind was set on the way that they brought me up, not the way that America said, oh, well, you can have this crutch because this is available to you. No, my grandma's like, no, you're going to go out there and you're going to work. And you're going to.
And you did that.
And I did that. And I'm happy about that. I'm happy that she did that for me. I was upset at that time. Like, oh, why? But it happened for me.
It did. And not only you became a young mother, and your work ethic is unquestionable, knowing you as well as I do.
Yep.
Working is a part of who you are. And I know the next step, whatever you do, you're going to be the best at. But you also, at the time that you had your first kid, was it your daughter?
My son.
Your son? You went back to school.
I did. I went back to school right after I had my son. It was about maybe a month. And I withdrew myself out of school, out of high school, and I put myself in a charter school because I knew the school that I was in, I wasn't going to make it around the people that I was surrounded by. And my grandma would always say, it's not you, you're going to it's you. You're the problem, and you're going to carry all the problems with you. But she didn't understand what I was facing out there. The peer pressure and the this and the that and the fighting and the me having to stand up for myself. And she didn't understand what I was going through out there. So I took it upon myself to, God rest your soul, Grandma, I'm sorry, but I forged her signature out of the high school that I was going to. And I enrolled into a charter school where I was able to get intimate learning, get one-on-one personal learning, and also be able to graduate on time with my class and also get college credits at the same time. So by the time I was 18, and I graduated from high school, I already had a certain amount of credits towards my first degree, which was in business. So then I got into business operations, working for, different organizations, different banks and things like that, just seeing how the business operated. The operational side of things. I love it. It's the analytical.
It's the backbone of every business.
Yes, it is. And I'm like right in the thick of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I understand why you do this. And I understand why you do that. And I've worked for about 5 major finance companies. And I have been able to link together all of the processes that they've done. And I'm like, you know what? When I get my own thing started, it's going to be thebomb.com. There's not going to be any type of loopholes anybody's going to be able to get through for anything, because I know what it takes to make certain things work.
You do.
So I'm just really excited for that time. I think God is like really putting me in a position to be connected with genuine people, get connected and stay connected with genuine people. Like my past is not even existed anymore. The people that was in my life before, they no longer exist. And I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And karma's coming for a lot of folks too.
That's right.
That I've seen, and it's like, I'm not laughing about it and it's not happy for me, but people really need to understand spiritual laws, that they're real. Whatever you do to someone, it will come back to you. Might not happen now, might not happen, tomorrow. It might happen 11 years down the road.
Yeah.
But it's happening. It's coming.
I feel like your book was that transition for you, that by sharing your story publicly, and also I know that by having the courage to share your side of your story, and if you want to read Indy's story, they can get it on Amazon, right?
Yes.
So it's called The Truth is a Lie.
Yes, The Truth is a Lie, behind the scenes of the family court system.
Yeah. And you do a beautiful job of saying, here's where it started for me, and here's what happened, and here's the journey, and here are the lessons.
Yep.
And now, how young are you?
I am 38.
38. At 38, having see you, I experienced as your friend, you go through that process and then through the book launch. It feels like by you saying that, now you're like, I'm ready to turn the corner.
Yeah.
And you're letting it go.
That's what it was for me. And it was all your fault. I told you that. This is all her fault, because was it the money? Which one was it? Was it the money moves? Was it money moves?
Maybe.
Okay. So I was on her show and I'm going through my timeline. And, I practiced this like 20 times before I got on your show.
Yeah.
And then when it got to my kids and the turning point, and when I saw the turning point for me, I realized what I went through was really messed up. And I'm over here smiling and like, it's okay. And, power, let's go. Empowering. No, this was messed up. And there's some healing that still needs to happen here. I never took a time to pause.
Yeah.
I never took the time when I was going through that time, to sit down and pause. And that's important. We get into this groove where we're just going. Okay, trauma happens. Going. Okay, I get, my car gets smashed. Going. When do you take a time to pause and be like, I need to acknowledge this is what really happened, process it, and then move on?
It's a maturity. I think it's an awareness, and that's the first step that we start, which is what we're talking about. I think it might have been a My Money Moves event where we talk about the things that happened to us financially, which is where we met. We met on a financial front of saying, you're a financial expert, Amanda. Shout out to Amanda, who introduced us, was like, you're a financial expert, you're a financial expert, you're both really cool, let's connect. And then it became a process of you looking back at going, all of these patterns have gotten me where I am today. But what you're describing is the drift of life.
Yes.
The drift of life, that you're caught up in this drift, and you had kids young, and you're moving and you're creating, and determined is the word that I would use for you. You were determined to be successful.
Yes.
And on a mission to be successful. But then something clicked where you're like, hold up.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
What am I doing this for?
What are you doing this for?
And it all went back to my childhood. I was doing it to make my family proud, not because it was something that Indy wants to do, not because it was something that was going to bring me joy or success or happiness internally. It was all external. I had to sit back and be like, what the heck am I doing all this for? Why do I feel the need to be validated? Why do I feel the need? Where's this coming from? And when I sat down and realized that it really does not matter to me, it really does not matter to me.
What your family thinks?
What my family thinks, what anyone thinks, So that's why I'm in a place of quietness right now, because I don't want to come out, because of my mindset, I don't want to just come out and just do anything because I don't care what nobody thinks. You know, I want to be intentional. I want to be impactful. You know, I want to be helpful. I don't want to just be someone just talking just to talk, or just someone out there just to be out there.
Yeah. We talk about that in my book, what reckless versus not reckless is. And there's that, you don't want to be reckless with your energy.
Right. So true.
Harnessing it and being intentional. What's the word that I'm looking for? Why did you decide to do the life coach certification?
Because I've always been really good at helping people in their lives, just because of my F-ups in life, you know? And I wanted to be a voice for folks that are going through life, that just wanted someone to listen to them without judgment, without any type of, you know, feeling like what they're going through as a human being is wrong, you know? And I just wanted to be a listening ear and just to help, because sometimes that's all you need.
It is.
You know? There have been many times where, you know, I'll go to my friend and she won't say nothing. And I'm like, hello, are you there? She's like, yeah, I'm just sitting here with you. And that's all I really need. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you for letting me vent. I'll talk to you later. You know, and that's all I really needed.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I want to be for people. But it has been draining, because I really feel that we can all coach ourselves, you know, and sometimes we just look for that external thing to kind of let steam off. And we can do that in other ways. We can go work out. I love doing that.
Yeah.
You know, we can go hang out with friends that are positive.
Yep.
You know, we can go do things that help us to release that trauma in some different way.
It's true. I just did a whole 4-day retreat about that, teaching people how to take the tools on, because we're not all born with the tools.
Right.
And there's this distinction of life is happening to me versus life is happening for me. And when you lean into life is happening for me, it's an empowerment and a responsibility. And you got to learn the tools.
Yeah.
You got to learn the tools. So having a coach in your corner to help that process move forward so you can learn is a great way to get started.
Yes.
But not always necessary. And what we were talking about before the show is getting quiet. And I actually said it to Cree. We're in Cree's studio. Shout out to Cree at home and her studio. We're in her studio today. Cree Co-Productions. We were talking about getting quiet. Yeah. And how for the first time at the age of 43, I'm learning how to relax.
Yeah.
Just chill.
So how does that make you feel?
It's so weird. It happened this morning. I had my alarm set for 4:30 a.m. I was like, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go do my hot buns workout. And I was like, why am I doing that? Yeah. Why do I have to perpetually hustle? Why do I have to perpetually push myself? It's like 2 a.m. I'm having this conversation with myself. And I was like, what would happen if I didn't?
Yeah.
What would happen if I didn't push myself to my extreme today?
Right.
What would happen if I just laid in bed for an hour and did nothing and cuddled with my dog?
Right.
And you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. I laid there and like re-energized myself.
Right, exactly. You did what you needed to do.
And we're here today. So this is your call to action as a listener, is what would happen if you just had the courage to hit the pause button of your life? And you've done that in a few ways over the last 5-6 years.
Oh, yeah.
Strategically. One of my favorite conversations we had is you took the time to invite me to coffee. You're like, hey, and like you didn't let up on me either, because you're like, I want to talk to you.
Yes.
And we sat there for probably almost 2 hours. And it was so nice to just pause and chat.
Right.
And so let's lean into that for our listeners today and our viewers. What do you want them to hear about how that's added value to your life at this point in your life?
Pausing is so important. Pausing is a way of, like you were saying, restoration. You can't, we're not robots. We're not designed to keep going and going and going. And I just want to say that for me, pausing has just been incredible. And I pause all the time, okay? Like if I need a day off, I call and I request a day off if I want to, or I take a day off if I need to. As a matter of fact, every Saturday for my kids, do not bother me. Today's my day. Close my door. You guys are old enough to figure it out. There's peanut butter and jelly in the refrigerator.
Yep, that's right.
Go figure it out. Today is my day to recharge. I don't feel guilty anymore. There was also a time where I would go shopping, and every time I would go shopping, I would never get anything for myself. The intention was to do that.
Who can relate to that?
I go with the intention. I'm going to go get me some shoes. I'm going to go get a blouse, something nice for an interview, whatever. And then I'm coming out the store with all this kid stuff. I stopped that. Good. I'm like, even when the kids are with me, Mommy, can I? No. No, not today. When it's your time, it's your time. And it's so important to compartmentalize everything in your life, or you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to mix everything together.
You can't be everything to everyone.
You can't. I'm going to be the bad guy today because I'm not getting you those Jordans. No, I'm not doing that.
No is a great word.
It is. And it's I think my hair started turning gray in the front. I think it's kind of slowed down a little bit when I started saying no.
Yeah. Yes. What if today you had the courage to say no?
Yeah.
Not for the purposes of being a jerk,
right?
But just saying, what's the lesson? I had this conversation with my women at the retreat this weekend of when we don't say no, what that creates for the other person, right. Our kids, our family, our friends. I know for me, it was very disempowering for a long time. By not saying no, I was trying to avoid the pain or the consequence of saying no, or avoid that person in the pain.
Yeah.
So like my son's a good example of that. He wanted something, and instead of me having the hard conversation and saying no, go figure it out yourself, I'd want to save him from that discomfort and that dis-ease. And that's a vicious cycle.
It is.
That's a vicious cycle financially or otherwise, that we can say no, we can slow down, we can create peace.
Yes.
Regardless of what's going on in our lives, because life around us is not going to stop.
That's true.
It's not.
And if they respect you, they will respect your no. And if they love you, they will understand your no. I always feel like the best way you can tell the character of a person is tell them no to something, or set a boundary and see how they react to that boundary. And if they get disrespectful, you know how they feel about you. That's for right. real.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's just really that simple.
How do you navigate that in corporate America? So will you share a little bit about what you're up to in corporate America, even though we know you're at someday you're changing lanes. You're not yet. What do you do in corporate America today, and how do you navigate no and boundaries?
So I have a really cool job because I can always just push things back if it's just not right. But basically, I am an associate client service manager for the second largest finance companies in the United States, and I say no all the time to things, like especially if it's like meetings. I say no to meetings if I have to because I have other meetings going on, or it doesn't apply to me. I don't need to be there. And for me, it's real easy for me to just hit the decline button and just be on my way. So I don't necessarily have to physically say, no to anyone or a request.
That's good. Has that always been the case?
Pretty much, because I've been in operations, so I've been on the back end of things. So I really never really had to deal with people.
Gotcha.
But I think it's going to be different for me, definitely, now that I'm going into like dealing with people. In what way? Social. So I'm a part of a business resource group called BOLD, which is the Black Organization for Leaders in Development, and we basically have a group of people that come together and we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging within corporate America. And we have some really tough conversations, and we talk to allies, we talk to our folks, and there's a lot of, it's a lot of uncomfortable conversations. And sometimes, requests that we get, we do have to say no to. For one, I had invited one of my friends who's actually doing he's He's doing a documentary called How to Kill a Black Man. This is talking about societal issues. And his airs on the 7th of July. His name is
Where does it air?
Timothy Jackson. I'm not sure. He didn't give the details, but there is a premiere happening, but I definitely will share it with you.
Timothy Jackson.
Timothy Jackson. Okay. He's awesome. He's the co-founder of Youth Mentoring, and he is awesome with real estate and all that good stuff. But basically, I invited him over to, to speak for our company. And because of the content in his books and things like that, the company was like, oh no, that's just way too much for us. But these are the conversations that need to be had for us to move forward. So I don't think that they're there just yet, but we're getting there. We're, step by step, we're getting there. But in order for us to level even the financial playing field between, Caucasians and Blacks, we need to have those difficult conversations because Black people are very valuable to the financial industry.
Of course.
We just need to figure out how to use that money. We need to understand how it's supposed to be used, and we need to understand the value of what it's supposed to be used for as a tool, even when it comes to credit. And this is why it was so hard for me to be, 100% like into credit counseling, because a lot of the people that would come in didn't understand the value of it. They just wanted, I just want a quick, let me get my credit. Yeah, really quick. But they're not understanding this is not a trophy. This is a tool. This is not, hey, I got 800 credit score. What are you going to do with this? This is a financial wealth building tool. And if you don't understand how to build wealth, then you're not going to take advantage of the tool that it's supposed to be used for. You're not going to take full advantage of it. And so when I understood that part, I'm like, Lord, we got a long way to go.
Yeah. What are some of the strides you're seeing that you're making? Well, one for you personally, because you had to learn this starting in the banking industry, but your family didn't instill it into you. And I know you're really passionate about building wealth. Real estate, investment properties is a part of something that you want to create. What are those nuggets that made a difference for you? And then we'll talk about for a listener even to say, I agree with you. What, like, getting out of debt does not mean that you're a financial champion. It's not it's not really the metric of success, not having debt. It's how to use debt and leverage. Those are the sophisticated financial conversations that we want to elevate. So let's talk about you first and then we'll shift.
Okay. So what was the first question?
It was really more for you. What were those pieces and those nuggets of information that elevated you and supported you in growing financially?
It was really seeing my family go to shambles and not wanting that for myself, and those were really the nuggets, waking up every morning, seeing my family not have anything. And the real big nugget was when my grandma died and didn't leave anything. And I was already in the financial world and I understood how finances worked. And then when she passed away, I realized that she really just died and took care of herself, which was great because she left no debt for no one, but she left nothing extra for anyone to be able to leverage. And that's something that I don't want to do to my children, So as soon as I bought my home, I made sure that right away I got insurance, like life insurance, in case anything happened to me. Building your financial house is so important. You have to have insurance. Like I believe insurance, everything to insure everything if you can, because you never know what's going to happen. You have this thing, you need to protect it. You have your life, you need to protect it. And life insurance is not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to use life insurance for your death. You can use it for your life.
Your home, the story about your grandma's home, do you remember those numbers that you shared in our Savvy chat? It was something like because your grandma didn't buy her home.
No, she didn't buy her home. She rented, and she rented for 23 years. The rent was $1,000 a month. I think it was over $100,000.
12 times 23. Y'all do the math.
Yeah.
So
the cool part was that her landlord never went up on the rent, no matter what was going on in the society. He had offered to sell it to her for $50,000. I'm sorry. He offered to sell it to her for $50,000. And because of her lack of financial literacy, she's like, no, I'm not getting into all of that. I don't want that. And she declined. And she was paying this man $1,000 a month, not realizing that she paid this man quadruple.
What did the house sell for?
I don't remember. It sold for, I think it was like 2 times. I got the numbers. I wrote it down. But it sold for 2 times more than what it was worth. I think it was like $500,000, over $500,000. So $500,000.
Yeah. So she had the option to buy it. She didn't. And to wrap that concept around, so many people are afraid of debt.
Yes.
They're afraid to take on that responsibility. But the truth is, especially when it comes to rent, you're paying it anyway.
You're paying it anyway.
You're paying it anyway.
Why not pay it to yourself?
And it is a big responsibility. It's not just home ownership. So that clicked for you. And you bought a home. And insurance is another thought for anybody who has kids, anybody who wants to leave a legacy, that there's insurance out there. What else?
Yes. I also want to emphasize the fact that financial success means so much different for everyone else. So maybe for her, that's what she wanted to do, and that's what was more comfortable to her. Maybe she didn't want to own a home because she was comfortable with calling the landlord to fix things when it went bad. You know what I mean? So
that's definitely a benefit of renting.
So it's really a personal thing, when it comes to financial success. What do you want that to really look like for you? Because you might want to buy a home, but you might not want the hassle of dealing with certain things with the home. So how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah.
What is the plan to deal with that?
I get that. So for you now, with where you are in your company, with the conversations that you're having, what are the next steps for someone who wants to elevate financially that doesn't, like for you specifically, what are you teaching and promoting and sharing out there for someone to take the next step financially for themselves? I know I have like a whole host of things, but I think it's really important to talk to where you're at and what you see.
Well, like we talked about earlier, having a coach. You need a coach. You need a coach for everything that you do in your life. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you're doing. You need somebody that's going to hold you accountable, help you along the way, and you need to be open-minded. That's the thing, is to have an open mind and know that your coach and your advisors are really there just to be there for you. And they're not trying to just tell you what to do. They really want to help you because...
Well, a good coach does.
Yeah, a really good coach. They'll go through the trenches with you as well. So yeah, I would say get a coach. Really find out, sit down and really think about what you want and ask yourself why you want it. Because if you don't know why, then you're just going to be out here wandering and wasting your own time.
That's so
and
great.
Other people's too.
I agree. Like there's so much financial advice out there of people telling you what you should do. Yeah. And to the point of getting quiet, which I want to talk about to finish the show in that conversation about the value of getting quiet, is that when you have the courage to answer the question for yourself of what you want, then you align the right financial strategies and tools systems. And so many of us just limit ourselves in what we believe what's capable for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that comes from our history. It comes from our families. Yep. We're in a limited conversation.
Yep.
And we have to have the courage to say, okay, what do I want?
Yep.
And then coaches, mentors will help you get there.
That's right.
They'll help you get there.
Yeah, it's like GPS. You don't know where you're going unless you know where you're starting. It's like, okay, I'm going to plug in the destination, but how's it going to tell you to get there if you don't know where you're starting? And that's so very important. And if you realize when you talk to a lot of people, the first thing you ask them is, what do you want? They don't even know.
They don't know.
They have no idea. I want... They don't even know. And it's not to be funny, but it's... What are you going after? What are you chasing after? And helping these people really just tapping into that side of their self so that they can be the very best self.
I love that so much, because speaking to you who's watching this or listening in this moment, you are here for a reason. And I believe that it's not that people don't know what they want. No one has taken the time to ask them what they want. No one's taken the time to sit across from the table and go, okay, what's real for you today?
Right, right.
And when you have the courage to simply say, maybe it's not so simple, but when you have the courage to say, this is what I want, and then go tell people, this is what I want, it's the fear. What if it doesn't happen?
Yeah.
It's the fear, what if I fail? So people never put their asses on the line for what they really want. And by getting quiet and asking the question, Oprah says this. I like Oprah. I listen to her all the time. What do you want? What do you want? And the first answer might pop up, I don't know.
Yep.
Okay, ask it again. What do you want? And what do you want? And what do you want? And keep asking that question until the answers start coming up.
Yep.
It takes time. It takes courage. And once you start answering those questions, you start living your own life.
Yes. And we have to stop thinking for other people when we ask that question to ourselves.
And this is a call. I'm calling out my financial professionals right now.
That's right.
I'm calling you out because the more you answer for someone what they need to do, what they should do, what they have to have, where they should be at a certain age, you stop their evolution and their process. And you stop the conversation.
You do.
And it serves no one.
It does. It does not. And you know what? I stopped doing that too. I stopped telling people what they need to do because it's not my business.
Right.
I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do, and I'm going to do that. And if you want to follow in my footsteps, then I'll give you the recipe. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do and how to live your life. No. You know?
No. So getting quiet. What has been the value for you at this point in your life in getting quiet and slowing down?
Slowing down for me, it has the benefit for me has just been not really dealing with anything. You know, I wouldn't say dealing. No, that's a bad word. Not really having to feel the hustle and bustle like you were talking about of having to do something. You know, I choose to do it if I want to. You know, today I choose to do it, and then what if I don't do it? Then what happens? Am I going to get a spanking?
Right.
Who's going to do
What's going to happen?
You know? So I think that the freedom part, I feel free. I feel like, okay, this is where I need to be. It helps me to exercise my feminine energy as well. You know, want to be more into like feminine things. You know, I'm not just trying to protect and provide so much anymore. You know, I have a partner that's willing to help me do the things that I need to do to progress. And I think that's important too. It also helped me to realize the chaos that needed to go.
Yeah.
The chaos that I still had and the baggage that I still had that needed to go. So it's gone now. I'm happy. I can
tell.
Free. I can
tell.
I'm in a good place.
What's next for you?
Well, what's next for me? I have so many ideas, but remember I was telling you about my independent living program that I want to do for the youth. And I am in the process of talking to someone to get an apartment complex to make that happen. So I'm in the beginning stages of getting my business plan going for that. I also am looking to do a podcast with my best friend. Her name is Ronlita Jennings. I forget. I'm so sorry, best friend. I forget what she goes by on social media because she has like 3 different social medias, but it's My Time Lioness. I think it's My Time Lioness on TikTok. She's awesome. And I also have been thinking about going into politics. So be on the lookout for that because that's really where my heartstrings are going into like homelessness and helping the youth and, you know, just dealing with the budgets that we have going on in our city, especially in Denver.
Yeah.
I even considered going back to Denver to run for office there. But who knows? Who knows what the strong wind blows, where the strong wind blows me.
Yeah.
But I know it's going to be somewhere in that area. But independent living program is happening.
That's badass. You over the last, I don't know how long how long have we known each other?
About 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have been on this journey of saying what is important for Indy and where am I going next, and being very intentional with that. Financially, with a few minutes left, how have you set yourself up to be able to have the freedom to make the shift? You'll know when the right time is to make the shift, but even just having the courage to buy your own complex, right? What steps have you taken to set yourself up?
Being in the company of the right people. You know, there's a saying that if you surround yourself by 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth one. And since I've been out here, I've connected myself with some phenomenal people that have been able to give me some phenomenal connections. And I'm just in a really good place right now, just trying to figure out all of that stuff. So that's, I think, really connections. Your network is your net worth.
I love that. We can land with that. Your network is your net worth. I love that so much. I can't wait to be at your ribbon cutting.
Me too.
Yes, it's such important work.
Yeah.
I'm a champion of yours. I'm a fan, and I'm so grateful to have you come back. I want you back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll hear about all the amazing things that Indy is continuing to create in this world. How can people find you?
You can find me on social media, Indy Go Hard, any social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. I'm on those 4 platforms. Yep.
I love that. This is my invitation for you today, and for everyone that's listening to the show today. Keep speaking your truth.
Yes.
Keep finding out who you are and taking steps to move in the direction of your dreams. You're doing that. You're championing the way for so many women and men on this planet. Thank you for being you, and I'm so grateful that you were on Real Money today.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You can check us out. Keep following us on Real Money. Show notes below, and we'll catch you next time.